My guest in the Nimataion today is Red K. Elders, and together we are spinning a yarn. Red, you're a magical artist, somatic practitioner, teacher at the Blackthorn School, and we've got friends in common. And like when we talked before recording, we have a similar understanding of the gods, I suppose. So great to have you here.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me here. Very, very privileged to be here.
Oh, it's an honor. So you started drawing only at the pandemic, and I think that's incredible. I mean, looking at your pictures, your website is linked below. Uh,
Mm.
how did you do it, and how did maybe a story influence it?
Well, so I have a long history prior to doing the drawings of working in body work and in like group movement rituals, working with groups of people doing movement work. Um, so that was what I was doing prior to the pandemic, and I had to completely stop all of that, obviously, in the pandemic. And then the drawings really kind of emerged out of almost like a desperation, really, like, what the hell am I going to do now? And drawings have always arisen for me. I've not had a long period of drawing ever in my life, but they've always appeared when I've been in real times of transition or struggle or stress or moving from one thing to another. And so, sure enough, that happened again. And it was more for my own sanity, I think, just for kind of to have a place to kind of sit and ground and be calm and just to feel into something bigger, to kind of figure out what I was going to do next. Um, and it just emerged from that and kind of took off in a surprising for me way. I didn't imagine it was going to become, the thing that I now do full time as my job 3 years later.
Hmm.
Um, but yes, but going back, so now I teach courses in weaving together the drawing and the body work and the movement work from previously, because a lot of people started asking me to teach them drawing, and I'd never been to drawing school. I don't have any training in drawing, so I don't know the techniques for how to draw or how to teach that. Um, but what I can teach people is how to get their bodies into such a position or such a configuration as to allow creativity to flow through them. And I realized that was something I knew really well. And so maybe I could teach people that. And, that could apply to whatever artistry or whatever work or whatever they're doing in their life. Um, it's useful to be able to find those configurations within ourselves to allow who we truly are to come forth.
Hmm.
Mm.
Hmm. I suppose you could say the same about stories. So let me ask you my question. What has been your favorite childhood story?
Well, I suppose when I was really far too young to be exposed to such things, I was reading the horror novels from Clive Barker.
Mhm.
And then, so I was ripe for his film Hellraiser when that came out. And again, I was too young to be watching such a intense film, I'm sure, but so needless to say, with all of the really iconic imagery and powerful, crazy scenes in it, it made quite an impression on me at such a tender age. but and maybe any of your viewers have seen the film. There's a lot of iconic imagery and things in it, but the piece that really grabbed me the most, and I didn't know at the time that would become like the template basically for all of my work for my whole life until now. And that piece was this little exquisite little black antique lacquered puzzle cube box. You know the one I'm talking about?
Of
Uh,
course.
so yeah, the lament configuration, also known as the Le Marchand configuration in his novels. Um, and I became really fascinated with this little puzzle box and the kind of magic and the mystery of it, and this beautifully crafted mystical device with intricate movable parts in it. And you know if you've seen the film, you know when they're played with and moved and when they're shifted around, it triggers this mechanism that sets in motion the unlocking of the whole cube, which unfolds and opens this gateway to another plane of existence, right? So, I mean, as you might imagine, I'm taking a wild guess here. I don't think any of us want to go to where that was taking us. We don't
Not
want
at
to go
all.
to that specific place that that particular cube opened. But the concept of this exquisitely constructed mystery puzzle box that could open doorways to unseen realms, it stayed deeply within my bones, really. And that became the template that my whole life would organize around. Um, so over the years, I think I've come to experience that like our bodies are like these mystery puzzle boxes. It's like our whole body is like this Le Marchand configuration, and we're each our own unique, gorgeously intricate puzzle box, just waiting to be unlocked, find the right combination that just opens everything. And
Beautiful.
you feel, yeah, you get what I mean, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We are the portals.
Right, exactly, exactly. And I firmly believe and have experienced multiple times with everybody I've worked with. We have to just find that somatic configuration in our bodies, and then whole portals open, and whole channels and possibilities are then possible through our forms. So that was kind of the premise I was working with in my body work over all those years with people. It's like people come to me and they're locked or they're blocked or they're kind of constricted in some way, and they would lay down on my massage table if I was doing body work with them, and it would be like this endless fascination because it would be this unique puzzle to be undone that was right in front of me. And it's not always so much about me doing something to the person, but also them finding the sequence in themselves, which is how the movement work came out of it. So, I can work with a body, I can move the puzzle pieces around and open up the places for, unlockings and energy flow to happen. But what I found also really powerful was I could step back and I could create a space where people could find that puzzle combination themselves. So that really became the essence of my movement, my sort of my group ritual movement work, especially. Um, because what's fascinating is another part of it, which is really fascinating, is that when you have a whole group of people doing this together, and the whole group are unlocking their kind of personal configurations, then it's almost as if, well, it is as if all of the people in the group become a larger puzzle box through which something even larger can open and flow. Um, does that make sense? Am I kind of
Oh,
explaining?
absolutely, absolutely. In my imagination, I just had this picture of humanity as a whole
Mm,
working together synchronistically to open whatever um, new Earth, maybe something like. Sounds very new agey, but it just popped up in my mind.
yeah, and I mean, I suppose it could go that way, but for me, it's very earthed, and it's a very kind
Yeah,
of rooted
yeah,
connection. So, it's not a kind of like opening up and out. It's almost like an opening down. So I do a lot of my work. I don't know if anybody's seen any of my movement work out in the land, because for me that earth connection, it's like opening to something below,
yes.
that kind of connect into something more rooted and something deeper and more ancestral below. Um, so yeah, that's yeah, and quite a lot of the time, if I used to take people out to the land to do movement work outside in the land too, and the tendency often was, once they start opening, to kind of to go down, to kind of connect with the earth, to lay their bellies on the earth, to kind of really merge into that earth connection, almost like receiving that kind of, I don't know, charging up from the big battery of Earth.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's my my connotation when I think about New Earth, not some kind of ethereal and like, but this very somatic remembrance of being part of this organism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way that the endlessly fascinating part to it all to me is that, you know, we are all so completely unique. So there's no one way to do this thing. It's like each of us has our own totally unique combination. So every person who comes to work with me has their way of doing it, which is totally different to the way I do it. And, you know, sometimes there are commonalities. There's a, you know, people tend to gravitate towards being quite upright, you know, kind of that. And then if you look at any of the ancient meditation traditions, there's a lot of speaking about, you know, sitting upright with a kind of erect spine to kind of open up that sort of central channel. That appears quite a lot. But then the tiny, like the micromuscular movements are so unique and specific to each person. And you know, a single gesture, it can all come down to like a single gesture of just, you know, the tiniest movement that can just unlock the whole sequence. So for me, that's the fascinating part. Like, what is the tiniest gesture that unlocks a whole body? Yeah.
And yeah, going back to the beginning, you told you don't know anything about drawing, but you know about bodies, and by unlocking this mystery, you unlocked this ability to draw, to channel gods, goddesses into your paintings or drawings. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I find it endlessly surprising myself too. So and you know, and a lot of the time when I sit down to draw, I sometimes have like some sense or idea, maybe because I've had like some dreams or kind of visions in my movement about what the drawing is going to be like. But then it often, you know, often things come in the drawing and I don't know what they are or what they're about or anything. And then I have to go on like long research missions to find out how does this fit or what does this mean or um, so again, it comes back to that same imagery of the puzzle. You know, it's always this puzzle to be solved. So the drawings are also like a puzzle to be solved in themselves. It is this kind of thing that comes with these you know strange um, kind of lines and marks and movements in the drawing, and it's like I have to figure it all out to kind of unlock the meaning of the drawing as well. Hmm.
And today you helped us unlock even further dimensions of stories and how they impact our lives. Brett, it has been a great pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'm very much looking forward to talk with you again.
Definitely.
See you.
Thank
The
you.
world is
Bye.
magic here.